So in this video, I wanted to take a quick look at the Zebra Zensations fountain pen. This is a very affordable, very simple fountain pen from Zebra. Sells for about $3. It's primarily a competitor to the Pilot Varsity and the Platinum Preppy, pens like that, something like that. Zebra V 301 that we looked at recently, in that sub $5 range. This is primarily a competitor to the Varsity, but again, it's hard not to group all those together when they're so cheap. So just to get some basics on the pen, it does not seem as popular as some of the other ones in this class. I've seen a lot more Varsities and Platinums, Preppies, than I have seen this, but it is a pretty cool pen, so I figured it'd be worth noting. Like I said, $3, full plastic body, plastic feed, plastic section. That is a steel nib. It uses a folded nib design, but with a sort of a ball at the end, as opposed to the V301, which even has a folded section at the end there as well, as opposed to that little ball piece. Simple, all plastic cap, pretty good clip, pretty strong, versatile, no problems there. You can see it has a little blind cap in there, a little inner cap, so that's good. This thing does not actually dry out as much as I thought, and that's one of the nicer qualities about it, because it tends to pick up and write with no problems. Not as well as a nicer pen, but it does get the job done in that sense. Very few features to it. It's non-refillable, at least that I've seen. I think you'd have to pull the feed and the nib out. I haven't done that yet because I didn't want to break the pen. It does have a little bit of an indicator here. You can see the ink level there. This one's pretty full. This one comes pretty stocked with ink. I think the capacity is fairly high, like over 1, maybe 2 milliliters, something like that. I feel like I read that somewhere. Can't find it now. But there is the color indicator. I'm trying to get it to work. It's not really showing up in the light, but it is there. And that's about it. Kind of a wavy design. It says fountain pen on it, in case that wasn't obvious. Just to get a quick look at the nib, there's really nothing on there. There's no company name, no size name. This is a the equivalent of a medium, I would call it. It's a 0.6 millimeter nib. And that is about it, I guess. It's a push-on cap. It does post very well, no problems there. In fact, posted is actually a fairly nice size, and the cap is very light, so posting is not a problem. It can be a little hard to pull the cap off if you really push it on there, but the nice size about that is if you do really push it on there, then you can collapse the size of the pen when posted and have it be even that much nicer to write with. So you don't have a long device like that. Now it's all the way pretty short like that. As far as the size, it's right in that sort of Sharpie size range. In fact, they're really close. You can see the two there, maybe a little bit bigger than the Sharpie. Here is it next to this is a TWSBI Eco, a more expensive pen, 10 times more expensive, but just that'll be good for reference. And then we have a Platinum Preppy, which is going to be right around the same price, maybe $1 more than the Zebra Zensations. Just do a quick little writing sample, the Zensations. This is the .6 millimeter. I don't believe it's sold in a fine or a medium. I've only seen it in the 0.6 millimeter. So nice line, no problems there. You can see it actually wrote as soon as I put it down. I haven't used this pen for I don't know, a couple hours. It's been sitting around, so no problems with starting. It's very well behaved from that standpoint. Very limited flex, pretty much almost no flex as you're writing. You make it see a little bit of difference there, but it's not about line variation. It just sort of, like the whole nib sort of flexes as one piece. because the two, there is a two tines, but essentially they don't spread out since it's that heavy duty steel. The whole thing just sort of picks up and drops more ink down. So very limited flex there, pretty much none. It's not super smooth, but it could definitely be worse. And now it's actually drying out a little bit from, because I'm not trying to write with it, I'm just trying to flex it. So, good writer, reliable. It's kind of a good note-taking pen and day-to-day use. And it's very well behaved, keeps up with you. I have noticed that this pen will, if you drop it, even from a small distance like this, the way you just sort of put a pen down to run, to pick up a phone or answer a doorbell, something like that, not throw it down, just drop it down on the hard side, it will splatter. And I think that has to do with just there being a fair bit of opening right here. It just gives it some room for the ink to just drop out if you were to drop it like this, like that. That was a little bit with a very small drop, so you just have to keep that in mind. I've seen it be a lot worse than that if you were to drop it from 2 to 3 inches. Just a quick comparison, I wanted to put down this is a 0.5 millimeter, so a medium platinum preppy. The platinum preppy has a more of a fountain pen type feel to me. It's definitely puts down more ink in the medium. It's definitely wetter, and it's like an inkier pen. Obviously, I don't have the stock ink in here. I have Colorverse Saturn 5. So maybe if you know that ink, you know what that means. But it's like a wetter ink, so you have to keep that in mind. But this similar, Zensations, similar to Varsity, is sort of like a day-to-day note-taking student pen. It is a fountain pen, but it doesn't really have that, it doesn't really push forward the fountain pen, qualities the way the Preppy does, or some of the higher-end pens do, like a TWSBI Eco or something like that. And then this is the TWSBI Eco. I believe this one is a medium. Nope, it's the broad. Now you can see this pen isn't really one for line variation, but you can definitely see a much wetter. In fact, it's smudged a fair bit as I'm writing too quickly, but you can see a much wetter line. Anyway, back to the Zebra. This definitely writes well, keeps up with you. No real problems except for that splattering and the Zensation name. That's like just a ridiculous name for a pen. I actually like it in the 0.6 millimeter. For me, this is a good note-taking pen. Biggest problem with it would be that it doesn't really feel so much like a fountain pen as it does like a rollerball. So maybe that's good for you, and it's just what you need for a day-to-day, simple-to-use pen. Maybe it's sort of disappointing and you want something more fountain pen-like. In that case, just move over to the Platinum Preppy. It's a very good pen to use day-to-day, and it has more of a fountain pen vibe. If you like the Varsity, I definitely recommend checking out the Zensations. They're really similar pens, and I can't really say I have preference for one or the other. If anything, I would say get the Varsity, just because I've had so much more experience with that pen. But so far, in the couple months I've had the Zensations pens, they've been solid. So that about covers it. Thanks for watching.